Hi, I'm Christina Livieri, your paleo practitioner. The focus of today's video lesson is getting started on exercise from beginner to advanced. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fact that I am at a high school track, which I don't care where you live, you probably live pretty close to a high school track. Now, you pay your taxes, that is your high school track to use. Of course, you can't use it when the students are using it, however, you can use it on the off times. First thing I'm going to talk about is our gear. All right, if you're going to be walking on your high school track or running on your high school track, which I definitely do recommend because it's a protected area. You don't have to worry about cars, you don't have to worry about stray dogs. It's a pretty protected area. The first thing you want to do is you want to have some exercise clothing to prevent chafing and to make sure that you have good quality clothing that will wick the sweat away from your body and keep you cooler. Also, if you're going to be exercising in the cool weather, you want to make sure that you are using proper outdoor layered clothing that is rated for exercise so that you will stay warm in cool weather. I run outdoors up until maybe 20 degrees. As long as you have the proper gear, that might be a couple layers of gloves, something to protect your ears and your head, maybe a scarf, and at least 2 or 3 layers of clothing for your body as well as your pants. The sneakers. Sneakers are pretty important whether you're going to be walking or running. So please make sure you get properly fitted at an exercise store so that whether you're a pronator or not, you're going to be getting the proper shoes. So I run in what they call minimum shoes, okay? I don't like to have an awful lot of support for my feet. I don't like to have cushioning for my feet because minimum shoes are good for people who want to do more of a barefoot running. And this is really more for your seasoned exercisers, people who have exercised for a while, they know what they like. All right. Now, something that people always ask me is whether or not they should stretch before they run or walk or swim. It really doesn't matter. All of the research that I've been reading recently says that exercising does not need to have your muscles stretched before you do that. We've found that stretching is not going to reduce your incidence of injury. So what people are going to want to do if you do decide that you want to stretch is a slow static stretch. So you want to stretch your calf muscle by picking up your toes and bending forward. You can also stretch your thigh muscles by doing some squats and bending. And you could also stretch the back of your thigh muscles by bending forward. You'll feel it all against the back of your leg. So if that's what you want to do, by all means go ahead and do some static stretching. Sometimes what people are going to want to do is they can also stretch up against a bench. So if you have opportunity to go against a bench or some type of a chair, you can see here I'm stretching out the back of my calf, which is a good static stretch. You don't bounce, you just slowly stretch it out and pull it back in. Do the same thing with the other leg, and that'll stretch out the back of your calf muscles. If you want to do some isometric exercise for your upper body, every time you run around your track, you stop off at the bench and you do some push-ups. However many you do is up to you. In the beginning, I do recommend that you start slow with maybe 1 or 2 and work yourself up. That will also help give you a little bit more upper body exercise when you're walking or running your track. Now, everybody who starts off contemplating to do an exercise session such as track work, treadmill work, riding a bike, we go through stages of contemplation of change. So if you are at the stage where you're watching this video, you probably are contemplating starting exercise. Maybe you already do exercise and you're looking for ways to improve. But you have to kind of figure out where you are on your stages of change. The other thing I want to talk about is being mindful, mindfulness. This means when you are exercising, when you're walking, running, biking, swimming, you must be mindful of what you're doing in the moment. This is as opposed to being mindless. Now, sometimes when people tell me, I hate running, swimming, biking, walking, it's so boring. And I say to them, then you're probably not doing it right, because you must be mindful of everything you're doing at the time. Also being mindful of and being in the moment when you're exercising, especially if you choose to do it outdoors, be mindful of what's around you. Look at the beautiful green grass, the green trees, maybe flowers. Look at the sky and the contrast between the color of the grass and the color of the sky. The clouds as they roll by. The wind when it hits your body and your face. Be very mindful of the smells that are around you. The flowers or maybe a car that's coming up behind you. Very important that you stay mindful when you exercise. You won't be bored if you're doing this. And the best part about being mindful, regardless of what exercise you're doing at the time, you're not thinking about your problems. You're not thinking of what you have to do that day. It is a wonderful way to release all of the stress in your life. So that's the second thing, is being very mindful of your exercise. The next thing I want to talk about is balance. Either you're going to be making excuses of why you can't exercise, or you're going to be making yourself healthy. You can't do both. So you have to make a decision on what you want. If you're watching this video lesson, I hope that you have reached the point where you have made a decision to make yourself healthy, rather than make excuses about why you can't. All right, so let's get started. I want to show you what I'm talking about.
So when you walk or run, you always want to warm up with a little bit of a walk, and walk at a comfortable pace, maybe a little challenging. But you should be breathing a little faster than normal. Keep your inspiration equal to your expiration. So at a walking pace, you want to breathe in for 4 to 5 steps and breathe out for 4 to 5 steps. Focus on your breathing and your steps, and always try to avoid dragging your feet. Lift your knees. A good goal of walking might be about 4 miles an hour, which means you should do a mile in about 15 minutes. That means it should take you 15 minutes to go 4 times around the track. After you've mastered this, and to whatever degree you can, and it may take you a few weeks or even a couple of months, consider adding a little bit of short sprints. That would mean that you would run at whatever pace you can for a short interval. On the track, consider running the straight sides and walking the curves. You must breathe in 3 steps and breathe out 3 steps when you're running. If you forget this, your breathing may come out of sync and you will begin to fatigue sooner. Always remember to completely empty your lungs so you can completely refill them. Avoid the tendency to shallow breathe, or you will fatigue sooner. An excellent technique to help drive you forward when running and prevent foot fatigue is called the knee lift thrust technique, or KLT. You focus each step on lifting each knee forward and imagine your knees going around in a circle, like cycling. This helps you keep your feet moving forward with much less effort. It requires focus and practice to master, but sooner or later it will become second nature. Unless you remain focused on KLTing or kilting with each step, and also remember to focus on breathing 3 steps in and 3 steps out, you may fatigue sooner. It's an excellent technique to push yourself to run longer. The best exercise routines for humans, according to our natural evolved DNA, is threefold. Number 1, you want to practice long, slow distance, however long that may be for you. Either walking, running, swimming, biking, whatever you choose. Do this twice a week. Number 2, you want to do sprint work, and the best, I believe, is interval training. You may choose jumping rope, kettlebell workouts, or interval training using running. Any movement that causes a sharp rise in heart rate for short sprints, alternating with rest or near rest periods. You want to do this twice a week. And the third thing is to lift something heavy. It can be free weights or other strength training workouts. You may also do isometrics using your own body weight, such as push-ups and pull-ups. And you want to do this once or twice a week. So I hope you found this information helpful in your pursuit of health and fitness. This exercise plan in combination with paleo eating patterns will be instrumental in transforming you into a healthy human being.